What's up, everybody? This is Phil Rogacki.
And I'm Jared Abergina.
You're listening to Two Tree Guys Podcast.
Awesome. Well, you're on the Two Tree Guys Podcast. We're out here with guest host Eric Palacios, and we're in Asheville, North Carolina at ArborFest 2022.
Here we go.
At ArborFest. So get on here, like the video, share the video. We have some great colleagues on the show right now, and we're gonna let them present themselves. So, Joe, let's start off with you.
All right. You kind of had me laughing, so I'm going to regroup real quick. You almost forgot where you were at. You had to think about where you were at for a second.
I'm all over the place. We're just in Massachusetts, and I was like, let me make sure, you know.
Am I in the right state?
Yeah, I think I've been to places where I'm like, hello, LA, and we're like in Colorado or something like that.
Joe Aiken, A-I-K-E-N, email jaiken@arborjet.com. One of the senior tech managers at ArborJet and co-host of the Discovering Forestry podcast.
Yeah.
And then we got the real talent over here, Corey.
To find the talent, you'd have to look directly through me to the next person. But my name is Corey Lofy, Korey, L-O-F as in Frank Y. Email is klofy@arborjet.com. And I'm the other half of the Discovering Forestry podcast, but I'm based out of Colorado.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I didn't tell you. I'm out of Detroit. So it's good to be here.
It's very good to be here, not just here itself at ArborFest, but it's good to be here with you guys and to get a little bit of your story and your background and, you know, not just in what you guys do for your regular job, but what you do as a I don't know, did it start as a hobby or did it start off as like, I mean, was there an intention to like become famous and make money off of the podcast or?
You know, the podcast is obviously came later in our careers. You know, I started out running a chainsaw on the family farm at 14 years old. So you think that's 42 years ago. I've always loved chainsaws. I've always loved the industry. And it wasn't until I got out of the Marine Corps and took a job with a tree care company that I realized that people really did this for a living. So that was probably 89, 90 when I finally got in with a tree care company. And the only owners, Steve and Paul, were certified arborists back in the day. And they directed me in a direction that this is really a professional industry. And I didn't know that until that. And then I've been scratching at trying to learn as much as I can for 30-something years. And just when you think you know something, you realize you don't really know a whole lot.
36 years in the industry.
Professionally. Yeah. 40-something, you know, when you're 14 years old and your uncle says, grab that chainsaw and cut that log up, there wasn't much training.
Yeah, like,
but
I like you wanting to take credit for that, but that's just like given that you had to do that. Like that wasn't work. Like, you know.
No,
like,
I was like, I get the chainsaw today?
Yeah.
So it's either that or carry the log.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I got,
yeah.
and it was ever since then. Like I said, I love the smell, the industry, and through the years, I just evolved more towards the plant healthcare side, the science side. You know, I hated taking down trees that didn't need to come down and to learn how to protect them.
Yeah.
That started after I got in with a professional tree care company. I was like, hey, is anyone going to spray trees today? And I'm like,
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I went.
So you were a ground man at one point, and you did
Yeah.
some climbing and stuff like that too.
Ground man. I was a climber. I was doing crane removals. We're doing energy.
Damn
clean.
it, boy.
That was back, man. We had a dinosaur crane. It was
Yeah.
scary. But this is all before, like, so you're talking 30, 35 years ago.
People are like, I think even to this day, people are like, oh, crane work and knuckle boom work. It's like so new. It's like, no, it's not. Like, this guy's been doing like old school ass crane work forever.
Whatever
you
we
know,
can
like,
do to make it easier, it was.
The minute that someone had a machine that they could use to remove a tree, like it's been used for that.
Anything to
as
help.
well.
It's
right?
you're always
Anything to
fighting to
help.
get back
Yeah.
on the ground. You know,
Yeah.
and then the older you get, you know, you don't bounce as well. You know,
I don't feel sorry at all for. I don't know. You were asking me about education the other day and like continuing education. It's like I don't feel bad learning a skill that keeps me out of being the climber dude, right?
Right.
Like
But that's okay.
lowering my chances of dying every day is okay with me, you know. And I
Yeah.
still get guys that are like, "Oh, but you don't climb every day no more." I'm like, "Thank God," you know.
I'm trying
for
not
the
to.
opportunity
And
to not to.
That's kind of the ultimate goal, right?
Right.
Get your career, educate yourself to get to a point where you don't have to put that wear and tear
Yeah.
on your joints.
Yeah.
See now, Corey's got a great story too. Now,
Corey's still young. He's gonna be working till he's 80 anyway. So.
yeah, that's probably. But you came up with a degree in forestry. You went the academic way.
Yeah, tell us, Corey. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. I think a lot of people in this industry kind of trickle their way in, and there's
Yeah.
I like to think about careers now being the millennial here at the table. I like to think about careers not necessarily linearly. You can bounce from side to side, career to career. I always knew I wanted to be with trees. I started working at a nursery and greenhouse at 13 back in Wisconsin. I knew because there was just something about it. And my dad was a middle school science teacher, and he kind of, when we had the biology and we talked about the trees and life and all that, it just kind of clicked. And I studied a lot of this, FFA in high school, a couple of ag classes, and then went off to Wisconsin at Stevens Point to pursue a couple of majors in forestry. I knew that I wanted to be in this.
Really?
Yes. And then I tried climbing. Man, I was way better at finding excuses not to climb
Yeah.
than actually climbing.
I get the rake. He was that guy
Oh,
that always got the rake before like
man.
anything was on the ground, right?
Well, he's got a
Oh.
degree. He's going to be a leader today. I'm like, oh.
No, as a groundie, I took so much pride and I loved it. Man, I
Yeah.
could. You put me off the ground, and my first couple times climbing, we got the trees done. It wasn't pretty, but we got them done. But man, as soon as we got that rear mount 75 foot, man, oh, my elbow hurts, my hips hurt. Man, I'll park that between your house, your neighbor's house, and the doghouse. I'm not climbing.
That's funny.
I remember when I finally got hired in with a professional tree care company. I'm laughing to myself about my first tree care job with this company.
Yeah.
So we had the guy, one of the senior arborists was felling the tree. It was we weren't climbing it. We had the room to flop it in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
So we had this guy, John Meller, that was working with us, and he got the nickname Kool-Aid. You remember the Kool-Aid guy that used to break through the wall?
Kool-Aid man, yeah.
Well, our company colors were red with black Carhartt pants. So he was kind of built like Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
He was a big dude.
Yeah.
So him and I are on the tagline. So we put a rope in it to kind of guide it, put a tagline in it. And Eric's nodding, it's coming over. Well, Izzar's coming over, and John Kool-Aid Meller ran me over, trampled me into the dirt because he thought the tree was going to hit us.
Wow.
So he knocked me down, pushed me in the dirt, ran over top of me, and got out of the way. And
You
I'm like,
die.
it was like, I'm like, dude, what the F are you doing? He goes, well, I didn't want it to hit me. I'm like, so this is my first day in professional arboriculture. with that
You're like,
company.
oh, this is what this
This
is how
is-
it's gonna be like.
All right, this is what it's going to be
Welcome to the
Welcome
industry.
to the industry.
like. You know what the funny thing is? I stayed.
Yeah, that's funny, right?
But we all stay, right? I
Yeah.
mean, some people get out, but we stay, and it kind of changes, and you learn more, and you educate more, and coming to events like this and talking to other podcasters, you learn so much. It's hard
Yeah.
not to be engaged.
No.
You're always like a sponge, I guess.
You have to be, I mean, I think, and even the older they get, the more that you need to be like that, because I see these old dudes that are like just stuck in their ways, and like the guys that taught me, they're like, oh no, this is what it is, and this is what it is. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not. Like, there's advancements coming in, and like we used to turn the fucking TV with a knob. Like, now there's a remote, like me and you grew up through some of that,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'm kind of a millennial, but like I don't like calling myself a millennial because I'm really not.
But you don't remember tinfoil on the antenna, do you?
I had to put that on there so it could work,
So,
I mean,
there's an evolution. There's
Yeah.
an evolution in all industries. And I still think that in arboriculture, urban forestry, there's still a lot of discovery out there.
yeah,
Yes.
Ways to be safer, ways to, just to do it that much better.
yeah,
And be more efficient on your body. Be more efficient labor
yeah.
savings.
You'll last longer. You
Right.
keep doing it
Yes.
longer. Like,
Yes.
Well, simple things like the Haas,
yeah,
SRS.
photosenders, Nia senders, just
yeah,
like
it's all easier on
the
the
way
body.
the way the saddles are built now. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't do it the way I did it back in the day. Had a
No.
double bowling on a bite with a hemp rope.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm not that old. Did it sound good though?
So
Yeah.
we have someone like you that kind of just got into the industry because of life or your lifestyle, like you love, and then we have someone like Corey that he was groomed into it as a baby,
That's
and,
right.
and
Yeah.
he just grew up with like knowing like I want to be in the forestry service. I want to be part of this. I want to be, and the beauty of connecting that, like you were saying, Corey, it's like we kind of trickle in here from like different industries. I feel that also side stuff that we've done before we became tree
Right.
experts or tree guys or whatever, it prepares you for it. Like you guys have had me on the podcast. I told you a little bit about it, and it's like, oh, I was worked on motorcycles, and I worked in the fields like with machinery that picked the fruit and like tractors, and worked on that. And then as a general foreman, and I worked as a climber, I worked as something like that, and then I ran the crews, and I learned about like fixing old equipment,
And it's all connected, and you're better for it.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's how we're gonna
It
move this.
prepares you.
Yes.
It prepares you to get there, and now we can share like experiences better. Like you guys are great experts at the plant healthcare side of things because of that.
Yeah, we took a path
Yeah.
because of I think it was more of a heartfelt passion. Why did this tree die?
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm doing really good right now is that the tree has to come down is reutilizing urban timber.
Mhm.
So even if that tree, which is a living organism, has to come down, what do we do with it when you're done? So I got a portable sawmill, and I
Yeah.
think my next big endeavor is going to be blacksmithing, because I'm thinking if we use the portable sawmill,
yeah.
rustic timber, a little bit of blacksmithing,
Yeah.
and then maybe I'll start making my own white oak barrels, and then I'll start distilling spirits to put in the trees that I have to come down.
Hey, I'll help. Do you need any investors? Are you taking investors?
I think it would be good. I think it'd be a good endeavor.
I'll be a taste tester.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
all
What do they
connected.
call it? Master. What do they call it?
Master distiller,
There
Yeah.
it is.
master sampler.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
oh my God, I did get the first bottle. I've been more than happy.
So, in that, tell us a little bit about how you guys got into the doing the podcast.
Sure. Joe,
Yeah.
you-
Start us off, Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was. I've always wanted to do something, and I think what happened when the pandemic hit, COVID, people were starting to stay home. We wanted to find a way to connect. And if you look at, there was a lot more podcasts coming out. There's a lot more social. You think about the Zoom platform. I got a lot of respect for Corey in the industry, and we were just talking one day, and we had Kara, who was our producer.
Were you already working with ArborJet at this point?
yeah, so I've been working with them for about a year. Yeah.
So we're like, and then I think I'm a idea guy. So I got the idea and I pitched it to Corey, and Corey's like, "Oh shit, yeah!" The next thing you know, we're doing it. I'm like, well, "I guess we're doing it."
Hitting the record button, and like Joe was saying, I mean, this pandemic that we're in or through or whatever, everybody's processing it different.
Yeah.
But we have so many great resources. I mean, you were a guest on our podcast. We've had
Yeah. Thanks for having me on there.
Oh, you did great. We've had
Easy. He did okay.
Yeah, you did okay.
Yeah.
But we've had dozens of industry professionals, and everybody has some valuable insight. You can
Yeah.
learn something from everybody if you just listen long enough and really have that intention.
And I think that you guys, this was something that I know you had this intention of sharing people's experience in the industry, because this is, and we'll get into it somehow, but you also do like a museum, right?
Yeah, Michigan ISA. I was on the board of directors,
Okay.
and a lot of the local chapters are starting with a foundation,
Yeah.
and the foundation is designed to be able to access different funds to support the industry.
Yeah.
So we started the Arboriculture Society of Michigan Foundation, which supports our museum, which is the historical arboriculture historical museum.
Yeah. And this was something that you wanted to share, first of all, with us, like tree nerds or tree guys, like all the old shit that was out there, and how arboriculture, like from forestry, from logging, kind of morphed into urban arboriculture.
It's all connected.
You know, and you have all these tools and all this setup. So you wanted to connect that also with experiences from people like Lindsay Purcell or like Jake, you know, like people that I like, that I follow, that, you know, I sat there and like listened to their podcast when they were on your show, you know. So being able to connect like the history of arboriculture and then putting together podcasts that connect experiences or, you know, just knowledge. I mean, like, I can't thank you enough, both of you, for like creating that, because, you know, that's where you get a lot of the knowledge. Like, it's like books are great, you know, courses, classes, seminars, everything we do is great, you know.
But it's I think
But
you're
it's
right.
like the caveman style, like way of communicating, like writing on the wall, sharing stories around the campfire, knowledge.
it.
This is how I did the wheel, or whatever, you know?
Well, think of how arboriculture in 1900,
Yeah.
when John Davy wrote the book, The Tree Doctor, they used meat cleavers and chisels. They didn't even have saws for the industry yet.
Wow.
So the term butchering a tree comes back to that period because you were using a meat cleaver.
I didn't know that.
Wow,
on the tree.
really?
So you butchered the tree.
Wow.
And we still use that term today. Don't butcher it.
It's, I guess it's technically correct, because if you butchered anything, it'd be a biological animal, and the tree is a biological.
It's a living
It's
thing.
a
It's a living
Yes.
organism,
So-
so you butchered it.
Fuck, they're probably yelling while we're cutting their limbs, right? Like, no, getting
You're
tortured.
probably thanking a lot of people for removing those hazardous limbs
Okay,
or
there you
diseased
go.
limbs.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for putting it like
all
that.
good.
You know, we're helping the tree as if it had a cancer, or if we had to remove a cystic fiber,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
something like that.
Well, decay.
Yeah, that's how I explain to my customers, and I get a lot of that from the work that you guys do, because it's like, I'm a tree doctor. I'm like, can you come give me an estimate? Like, I'll give you a consultation.
Yes.
You know, it's like, oh, is it free? Like, I don't know. Does your doctor do it for free? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to educate you as a homeowner.
If you
know?
want a price for this, I'll give you a price for this. But if you want to
Yeah.
talk to me for a half hour,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to charge you.
Yeah, you go to a mechanic. They don't just look at your car.
Yeah, come on. It's
Come
going to take me a little bit of time
Right.
to diagnose, find out. With that said, with what you guys had going on, and like you're saying back in the day, who is someone that inspires you both, like, to do what you do, or to like get into this, or that you had to look up to someone, right? That say, oh, like, or yeah, you wanted to save trees in general, maybe, or you like trees and you got into it with trees, but there had to be that one mentor, maybe when you got into it, or maybe as you were getting into it, you know, or maybe while you were there, that said, "Oh, right, I'm really sticking through with this."
Yeah, I'll go back to, I talked about Alpine Tree Care, my first professional company I went to. Steve Podgwitt and Paul Schaefer were the owners, and that's where I learned more than just using a chainsaw to cut wood up. That's where I learned what arboriculture was, and they were very adamant. And then a few years later, I went to Chaz F. Irish and worked for Chuck Irish, whose grandfather was the founder of one of the IAA, or the ISA. So
yeah.
these companies were mentors of mine. And then once
Which
I
was
got
the
into,
like the Shade Industry Association at first when it
NAA
started.
and,
Yeah.
and then
Ah,
I
yeah. Corey's like, wow,
I've read about
you're
that.
old.
yeah, so I worked for that company. Got
I've
a lot
read
of the
about
history in there, and then working with ArborJet for 20 years. I think we'd say Paul Schwartz, who was the campus arborist who recently retired from Michigan State University, was kind of a mentor. You know, he looked at campus as a municipality, and every tree had a purpose. And the way he managed the university and how beautiful the trees on the university was just amazing. And so I was very fortunate to spend a lot of time working on campus with him on certain endeavors. So,
University of Michigan,
Michigan State University.
Michigan State.
Yeah.
So get it right.
Hey, hey. Green and white. Go green.
Go white.
There we go.
Let me make sure I get the right notes for Phil, and I don't get like lashed from like Michigan State. You know,
Oh.
Well, Michigan State's one of the original land grant colleges, and that was part of their duty, is to maintain education on plant health care. They have an extension obligation to the state of Michigan to help us out to figure out what's going on.
Corey, what about you? tell us who is kind of instrumental. I know Joe's like your dad almost. And I know he's been a big mentor. Probably show you a lot of nasty tricks and stuff like that. That
Well,
Don't do it
bad
this
words
way.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that you
yeah.
should know.
I've had the benefit of working with and collaborating with a lot of industry professionals, and I don't know if there's just one person. I went to Wisconsin at
Right.
Stevens Point for college, so I had a really good group of professors and advisors there. But since leaving university and working for a number of different companies that I have, something I'm realizing is everybody's got something they can give you. Everybody's got a hidden nugget. But I think right now, what I'm getting the most out of is when I'm talking to a business owner and they show me something new or a different, maybe not new, but a different way of looking at things. So there was a gentleman who was actually talking to us on a show floor a little bit ago, and he was talking about how you really need to have a social media presence. And this is how he promotes his brand. And I really do think the future of our industry is these smaller boutique companies that have less overhead but can market themselves and position themselves better. So and that's probably going to change. If you find me in 5-6 years and ask, hey, who's instrumental now? I'm sure that's going to change. It's whoever's at the forefront, pushing the boundary, but doing the right thing. That's what it's all about, doing the right.
Oh, it's a super political
Do you know when
answer
I
to
when I
this.
listen
Like,
to Corey
is he
talk?
your PR?
No, I listen to Corey
face
talk
for
and
ArborJet
God, he
too.
makes me look good. He's just so
Yeah.
articulated, very well spoken, and
You're like, yeah.
yeah, Corey.
Are you
that's
sure
great.
you didn't? Were you like ever like in politics or like leaning towards like political science when you were at the college or at the university?
I'm either too smart or not smart enough for that. Probably not smart enough for that.
It's
Yeah.
like one of my buddies says about me. He's like, either you know your shit or you're full of shit. Like there's no in
Well, it
between.
depends on what day.
Full of bullshit. You know, like
Yeah.
Or the topic. I mean, and we talk about this all the time on our podcast, is there's so many different perspectives. I mean, you can learn from every single vendor that's here and every single climber and ground tech. I'm sure somebody's doing something different. There's a different knot. Joe, we were talking about at climbing competitions, how you'll learn a new way to tie into the tree.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's
I-
amazing. And I think that's why it doesn't get old for us, because we keep learning, we keep coming
Yeah.
to stuff like this.
Yeah, I found out.
Yeah.
After 30-something years, I was tying the bowline wrong. it
Your tail was on the
was a,
inside all
yeah,
the time.
it was a cowboy bowline, and they're
Yeah.
like, "No, that's why you can't do a Yosemite tie off." And I'm like,
Oh.
hey, well, I'm still here, so it must
Yeah.
have held.
Yeah. It holds. It just runs a little bit, they claim, but hey,
Well, again, evolution, different type of cordage, everything's different.
wow.
You can't just grab a 3-strand rope anymore and
Well-
have everything bind.
And I the first knot I learned was the Blake's hitch.
Yeah.
But now, and then I learned on the VT. And now it's all mechanical. We're talking about that.
That's not all mechanical.
Yeah, not all mechanical.
But it's an expression, Joe. Come
there's-
on.
I know there's another. But more guys are going to mechanical friction hitches because of the consistency.
Right.
What is like advice you would give to someone that wants to get into this industry, into your industry, and again, big shout out to ArborJet, the company that you guys work for, and everything you guys do for the industry, and how you've innovated and all that good stuff.
I think the first thing is just to get in the industry. The industry is actually hurting for people right now.
Oh,
Get into the industry. Corey and I, on one of our recent podcasts, we talked about getting involved with the industry. So maybe you're in the industry for a couple of years now, and what's next? Get involved. Check out your local ISA chapter. Mentor a new guy. Learn yourself.
would you say like I don't think we do a good job promoting our industry, right? Like
We could do better.
we can do better.
Yeah.
And also in just knowing like what there is out there for you. Like I tell a lot of young kids that I see that were like me in high school. They were kind of like, I don't want to do this. I want to kind of be a little bum and travel the world. Like there's so much you can do in the industry. Like people seem to think that you're gonna be a fucking landscaper, for God's sakes. Not that there's anything wrong with landscaping and
Yeah, I might
landscapers,
want to
please.
scoot away. You keep talking like that. Might be one in here.
Yeah.
But people seem to think that all we're gonna go do is go cut grass because
Yeah,
we're of a lower socioeconomic,
Sure.
cultural or
industry.
and so like I think it's good to promote to like younger kids, like, hey, like look at what we do, like look at what these guys do. Like you guys travel to shows, like you're able to help the environment, and you help the companies. like a lot of stuff that I do, like training, and we need people to speak Spanish that can translate for instructors, like things like
Yeah.
that. Like, I mean, there's so much cool stuff now. Look at the cranes right here. We got NJ Crane Experts right across us, like knuckle booms. Like, it's like running a video game. Like, do you
We're
agree
talking-
with that?
Ugh, we were just talking to Hans. We're coming up with a scientific study. I think I was telling you about it.
Maybe.
Corey and I, we might even do it this evening. We're gonna take a shot every half hour and then operate the crane in the simulator and see how many shots it takes before someone drops something.
But that's,
Yeah.
that's what
That's
it takes
perfect
to
research
push
and
the
development,
boundaries.
yeah.
Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
all for R&D.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna see how many it takes to drop a log on something.
No, that's true. And you know, we talk about what's the lasting impact that we want to have. And I think right now with the talent pool in our industry, some of the advice that I think Joe and I would give, yeah, have fun with it, become passionate about it. I would say never stop learning. But one of the bigger issues that I see in this industry, or some potential for this industry, is be humble. Just recognize that there's more than one way to do things, and things are always progressing, normally for the better. So go out there, don't be afraid to make mistakes, as long as it doesn't cost you a limb or life, and just learn and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So be humble and take in industry evolution.
That's it, baby.
yeah.
I gotta summarize things pretty good for Phil because I want him to keep having me on here as a guest host. But no, no. I just in my mind thinking like what that would sound like, you know, and I think that's great. Like be humble and take in the industry evolution. You know, like if you're starting off as a groundman, don't be like, well, my uncle said that you did it like.
Be the best damn groundman you can
Be the,
Yeah,
have
you
pride
have
in
to.
it.
Stay on top of that, man. Let the guy. What else can I do, man? You need some gas in the
I was
saw.
really like that coming up in the industry, and my father. That's just something you get, you know, as a kid, and my father always ducted that in us. It's like, by golly, if you're gonna be the janitor, you better be the best darn janitor there is.
Yeah,
And
be the cleanest toilet in the whole world.
yeah,
have
it
pride.
leads you places,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I can't. I have some skill, but most of my good luck and work has been being at the right place at the right time, being the guy that can say yes and do what others weren't willing to do, and then clean toilets, right? Like something like that.
Luck
I've
is
done it.
luck is where preparation and opportunity and your outlook all come together.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer.
Like
of
this
that.
guy wasn't
said.
here. Can you do it? Are you certified? Yeah.
Right.
Well, you weren't our first choice, but you're gonna be our second choice today. and I've never had an issue with that, Joe. You know,
You earn it.
I don't know if it's being a little humble. I tried to be, you know, but I don't know if it's that. But you know, I was like Corey said, I've been prepared for those times because I knew there was gonna be some time someone was gonna give me a chance. And my father always said, like, watch how someone's doing it. Even if they're not teaching you, they're already teaching you by showing you how it's done. So learn watching, understanding what you're watching, and asking questions, learning like that. The day they ask you, like, all right, it's your turn. You want to grab it? You want to try? Like, at least you don't look like a dumbass. And, like, you
Yes.
have a big understanding
Earn
already
the
of what's going on.
opportunity to take
Yeah.
the next step. I like it.
Wow. So who are you guys having on the podcast next?
We've got a list. We have a waiting list now, probably.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, my God. You guys
Yeah.
are so
No.
One thing that we were very impressed
bougie
with
now.
is the first aid kit company. What's the
Yeah. We'll have them on.
having? We talk about the dangers, and as no matter how safe you are in this industry, you're always putting yourself at risk.
Yeah.
But the guys at the show today, the First Aid Kit Company, I don't think I've ever seen them display at a trade show before
Oh, wow.
in that extent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, safety is paramount in this industry because, again, we put ourselves at risk daily, even though we're doing the best that we possibly can.
Yeah.
But being prepared for something that will happen one day, how do you handle that? What's in the truck? Where's your first aid kit?
Yep.
Do you know how to use it?
Do you know how to use it? Yeah, you open up a box, you're like, oh, shit.
So, is that who's next right now on the podcast?
Yeah, they're one of the lines, yeah.
Yeah, Hans at NJ Crane. He's already on. We recorded it. It'll probably drop Monday. Probably drop Monday. But
Dropping hot.
Come
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Tune into Discovery and Forestry on Spotify and what else? Where else is it?
Apple, Audible.
Holy fuck! You guys are like insta famous. Like I didn't know it was on all of those platforms, but yeah, awesome. Yeah, tune in. yeah, Hans was telling me he had a great time. He gave you guys a big shout out. And it's great. So Hans coming up. We got first aid experts coming up.
PhD, R&D, we'll have it all.
Oh my God!
And we'd
Yeah.
love to collaborate more with y'all here moving forward in the future as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I be on there again at some point?
Of course.
How
Awesome.
else are people going to get a nap in?
Okay. Yeah. Someone's gonna put him to sleep. Yeah.
But,
I'll take whatever I'm good for, Corey.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having us.
thank
This
you
has
guys
been
at
an honor.
Two Guys
That's awesome.
Podcast for having us on.
Hey, thanks to Two Tree Guys podcast for allowing me to co-host and having you guys on. Thanks so much to
I got a
Arborjet.
question real quick.
Yeah,
Who are the Two Tree Guys?
it's usually me and the other guy that we're interviewing, or Phil and the other guy,
Like
or
really
Phil.
Two Tree Guys.
Phil and Jared are the original Two Tree Guys.
Okay, all right. I didn't.
Yeah.
I knew that because I downloaded and subscribed to this podcast.
Yeah. So download and subscribe
Yeah.
to Tree Guys podcast. We're at Arborfest. Arborjet, thank you for allowing us to pull these guys away from the booth for a little bit. Big shout out to Arborjet and other awesome products on healthcare. And guys, it's been a blast. Thank you for being on here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Buena suerte.
Gracias. To Three Guys podcast. We're going to continue here at Arborfest. Stay tuned. We're going to have a few more guests on here coming up next.